Hey everybody, this is Sean again. I actually just went back and watched through the videos and realized, without realizing it, I cut a piece of this video out while disabling the screensaver while I was watching my recording. So I actually glazed over a couple parts, so I just wanted to make sure to include those in the video. I'll just go ahead and edit this piece to the end of the first part that I uploaded so that you guys don't miss anything from the unboxing. So I actually went from opening the box right up to the point where I was going to start showing the cards and the dice, and then went straight to the rule book. So I'm actually just going to go back and take a step back and show you some of the stuff in the box that I skipped. Most of it's cards, a lot of it's cards. So I guess I'm just going to show you a bunch of cards. One of the first things I pulled out of the box, and I think is cut out from my original video, was my explanation of your survivor card. So in the box, there's this little character grid card thingy. Is the best description I have for it. And it's probably really difficult to see because of the plastic, but there's actually a grid, a 3x3 grid here. And what you can do is you have these character cards, you have these gear cards for your characters. And I think this one's probably going to be the best example. If you look at this card here, you're going to see a little blue marker in the corner. And the way these cards work is there's armor sets, and wearing different sets gives you different bonuses, but there's also these additional bonuses that you can get. So I pointed out that little blue tick in the side, and what happens is certain cards will have those and certain cards will not. And as you pair different combinations together, you'll notice that they'll lock together and you'll see a blue shape or a green shape or whatever. And if you look at the bottoms of some of these sets, there's going to be set bonuses based on what combos you create. So as you connect the different colors together with your different armor sets down here, trying to get that in focus, there's a little description at the bottom, and this one in particular says if there's two green squares formed, you get each of these two different bonuses. So that's one of my favorite little mechanics that they add into the game. I've never really seen it done in a board game. Maybe it's been done before, but it's definitely not something I've seen a lot or at all. I like it because it encourages you to explore different combos and armor sets. So you could, this equipment card is the White Lion's mask, and this one's the lion headdress, and those cards might be good on their own, but you might want to swap one of them out for something completely different. And even maybe later on in the game, there's a set bonus that's really cool, and you'll take one of these weaker armors and wear it with an end-game armor set or an end-game weapon set just to get a bonus that makes a really good combo with the end-game stuff. So I really like that. I think it adds a lot of replay to the game. You're probably going to have different things available to you in different playthroughs. So this mechanic combined with the stuff in the rulebook with the storylines and the different events that happen to you, I think it's just going to add a lot of replay value to the game. So definitely one of the coolest things I really like that. My understanding is when your characters die, and also my understanding is that happens a lot. Your characters will gather this gear because it's valuable at the end of a battle and bring it back to your settlement. So really, your character, for all purposes, is your equipment. My understanding is you can get some things that are unique to your character, like specializations. There's a deck here that on one side it has events, but on this side you can see there's a specialization there for a type of weapon. It shows a picture of a whip. So your characters might learn different fighting arts, or they might. My understanding is there's some cards that are actually like sicknesses that your character can get as they get disturbed from the different battles and things that happen to them. So as your character goes through the game, assuming he doesn't die, he'll actually start to pick up positive and negative traits, which could be good or bad. It kind of reminds me of a computer game that recently came out called Darkest Dungeon. My understanding is that some of these things you can cure, some of these ailments you can cure, others maybe not, and then some of it's obviously good stuff. So there's still an investment in your character, which is cool. So you have your gear. If your character dies, you don't completely lose out. You still get to keep your gear. You get to bring it back to your settlement, but maybe you have a character that has a lot of cool, unique fighting abilities, and even maybe some hilarious ailments. One example I remember I saw in the Gen Con video is your character can be like a hoarder, and after you defeat a monster, he might hoard parts of the monster for himself, and there's no benefit gameplay wise. It might be funny, or it might not be funny. But when you bring your loot back to your settlement, you're going to have less because that guy hoarded things for himself. So just kind of an interesting way to add some uniqueness to your character. Again, more replay value, probably going to add some stories to the game, make it fun to talk about when you're recalling things from the game with your friends. And the only other card really I'm going to cover, I think, I did want to point out, I did see these. I think what this is little terrain cards. So earlier, I might have skipped tokens too. So I'll put tokens at the end of this video, and if I already covered the tokens in the previous video that I did, I'll just cut that part out. But I'll jump back into the tokens and show you guys those as well. I'll go through all these and then make sure I didn't miss anything when I cut out that piece of the video. But this actually shows some terrain effects. So there's some tokens that you can lay out on the board. Some tokens you can lay out on the board that change what happens when you step on, or maybe you can gather these plants and it'll give you some benefit. And then on this side of the cards, there is a slam card. It looks like it's just some sort of attack to use in battle. And then another thing I want to talk about are these AI cards. So each of the different monsters has their own AI deck. And the way that these work, from what I've heard, is each character has each monster that you fight has its own deck of AI cards. It's how the players fight the. It's actually a cooperative game, Kingdom Death Monster, and the monsters are controlled by this AI cards. So you pull these cards out, and it tells you, the monster is going to swipe at your head, or it's going to try to get a revenge shot on one of your player characters, or maybe it's just going to wander around. I think there's a type of a trap card. You've activated the monster's trap card, which you're just going to go through the deck and keep reshuffling them. And as the monster gets wounded, you're going to take these cards out of the monster's AI pile, and it gets closer to death. As there are no AI cards left in the monster's pile, the monster is defeated. And likewise, as cards start to get eliminated and reshuffled back, the monster becomes a little bit more predictable. So that could be a good thing. That could be a bad thing. If you've eliminated only its weaker attacks and it's only doing strong attacks, that could be a little bit of a bad thing. So you never know. So every monster, in my understanding, has these AI cards. And just as the monster takes his turn, he flips one over and you just do what the card says. And then the characters act all on their own. Another piece in the box that I don't think I got to show you was the dice. There are 4 hit location dice. They're just dice with little pictures on each face of a head, hand, a belt. It just shows you where your character got hit. And then I believe what you do is you reference the rule book, and it tells you what happens when you get the hit there. Again, you roll the dice, and the die roll and the book will tell you how bad of a hit it was. If your hand gets cut off, your hand just gets scratched, or maybe you get lucky and your hand doesn't get hit at all. The monster tried to hit your hand, but it didn't hit your hand. Just for example. Like I said, I don't know the rules yet, but I've just heard a lot of explanations. So that's my my understanding of how that rule works. So those are the dice. Try to show them up closer to show the hit location dice. They look like that. What do I cover next? The tokens may not have made it into my last video, so I'll just go over those again real quick. I just popped one out, which is fine. I'll use it as an example. Monster controller, if a player targets their survivor, they gain +1 insanity. So here's just one of the tokens that actually popped out of my little token tree. It's a thick cardboard. Looks like it's pretty good quality. Here's the sheet it came from. These mostly look like things that would go on the battle board itself. Got some trees, some stone faces, some of those plants that I was showing you earlier. I think those are the plants that we were looking at before. So I'm sure the rule book will explain what those do. And these all just look like something that everyone who plays board games is probably familiar with. These are all just status tokens. The ones I'm looking at all look like pretty much bad things. So negatives to your stats. A couple of lanterns of different colors, I'm assuming for different players. There's gray, green, blue, red. Some blood tokens. I remember from a Gen Con demo that those blood tokens represent your character getting wounded. And if you get a lot of those, it's very bad because it means you're probably going to die. So that's what the tokens look like. Some stat sheets. Stat sheets are just for tracking your character, what's going on, what things they have, if they're wounded, if they're going insane, if they're dying, how smart they are, what they've learned, what weapons they're good at, that kind of thing. And then there's also a sheet for your settlement to track what's going on with your settlement. So I'm guessing for different playthroughs, there's going to be a lot going on in your settlements, and you're going to want to track it. Last set of cards. Looks like we have settlement cards that just go over the settlement that your characters are at. Some explanation, some rules, some die rolls, things you can do at your settlement. Just making sure the video's still going so I don't cut myself off again. Barber Surgeon. This looks like just little maybe NPCs in your settlement. It's completely sealed, not sure what it does. Barber Surgeon settlement location. So again, there's just different things and advantages and benefits and things that can happen at the Barber Surgeon. So there's more settlement cards. This is just the character rule grid card we looked at earlier. And just in case I didn't cover it before, I'm going to show this super awesome board again of this is where all the fighting takes place. So I think a lot of the game will happen on this board. It's all black and white. There is some crazy faces in the center, and then it's just a grid and all the lights coming out of the center of the map. I think when I counted it before, it looked like it was about, if I had to guess, 20 by 30 roughly squares. It's a pretty big battle board, which is good because it's a miniatures game and you wouldn't want a small board to move around on. So I'm guessing there's a lot of opportunities for different things to happen on this huge battlefield. Nothing on the back side, and it kind of folds up like, I don't know how to describe it, just kind of accordion style, I suppose, like that. It doesn't feel like it's made out of cheap material. It's pretty thick for a board game. Doesn't feel like it'd be something that would warp. Looks pretty good to me. Oh, and these battlefields are actually, the grids are actually numbered, so it looks like it is 22 by, and then there's letters. So 22 by P, whatever number P is. Don't ask me, I'm not good at counting off the top of my head like that. And then I think I already went over these pieces in one of the other videos. So I think that does it. I was hoping to get this all in one video capture, but I accidentally stopped recording when my screensaver popped up on my laptop. So just gonna have to cut it into pieces. I will. And once again, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and if you're interested in the game, check out the description and I'll post some more info about it. Thanks for watching.